A fascinating story arises from the encounter between a tireless writer and a challenging creative block. Despite her many engaging works, one day she found herself facing a void of ideas. Rifling through shelves and exploring the web, nothing seemed to ignite her creative drive. A sense of panic overtook her, the fear of having exhausted her well of inspiration. However, upon deciding to temporarily step away from this impasse, something magical happened during a walk in the forest. An idea sprouted when least expected, a revealing paradox. The more she forced herself, the less she produced. The writer learned that excessive effort could be counterproductive, something expressed by the law of reverse effect, which suggests that relinquishing pressure can, ironically, lead to success. And there is another story set in ancient China, where a merchant sought to impress a sage with his wealth. But surprisingly, the more he tried, the less impact he made. The sage, invoking the words of Lao Tzu, revealed the contradiction. The effort to seek recognition sometimes dims one's own light. The lesson? Not always does effort lead to the desired success, especially when it comes to impressing someone. Both stories resonate with an intriguing concept. Sometimes, by giving up conscious effort, we achieve what we seek. It's as if the dogged pursuit of something ends up becoming an obstacle. The law of reverse effect challenges the notion that success requires relentless struggle, and suggests that, at times, it is by freeing ourselves from this pressure that solutions reveal themselves. It's an invitation to explore an interesting paradox. When we care less about achieving, sometimes we achieve more. The sage's words echoed in the writer's mind, prompting deep reflection on human nature and the relentless quest for external validation. The idea that ostentation dims one's true inner light resonated intensely. She wondered, why do we feel this constant need to prove our worth to others? This reflection brought forth a broader understanding of the importance of authenticity. The need to convince the world of our worth paradoxically seems to diminish that value in the eyes of others. Those who boast excessively arouse suspicion, while humility and silent confidence speak louder about someone's character. The merchant's situation became a vivid example of this. If he had trusted more in his accomplishments, allowing them to speak for themselves, perhaps the impact on the sage would have been much greater. After all, modesty and inner confidence speak volumes about a person. By caring too much about external opinion, he inadvertently sabotaged his own quest for the sage's approval. These reflections open doors to a deeper understanding. Often, it is by freeing ourselves from the eagerness to prove our worth that we truly show our greatness. The writer realized that true wealth resides in integrity, authenticity, and inner confidence, not in the constant need for external validation. Reflection on the relentless pursuit of mental control and emotional well-being intertwined with the lessons learned from the writer's and merchant's stories. The writer contemplated how the law of reverse effect manifests not only in the quest for external validation, but also in our psychological state. Professor David Clark, in his thought-provoking blog, highlighted how excessive effort to control our mental states often results in the opposite of what is desired. The example of disaster during a crucial moment resonated strongly. Excessive focus, intense pressure, and attempting to suppress certain thoughts, according to Clark, often amplify negativity. These ideas resonated at the core of the writer, reinforcing the notion that the pursuit of absolute control over our mental states can indeed be counterproductive. It was as if the frantic effort to rid oneself of certain thoughts or emotions had the paradoxical effect of increasing their persistence. Understanding that excessive attempts to control one's thoughts can intensify negativity was an intriguing revelation. This realization merged with the lessons about the pursuit of external validation, leading the writer to question more deeply. Are we often inadvertently intensifying the distress we seek to avoid by trying too hard to control our mental states? Professor Clarke's ideas added a new layer to the writer's understanding of the law of reverse effect. It was as if this law manifested not only in social interactions or the quest for approval, but also in our internal dialogue, in the excessive attempts to control our thoughts and emotions. The writer's understanding of the paradox of mental control was deepened by Professor Clarke's words and J. Camuscu's wisdom. This connection between mental control and creativity revealed itself as an intricate balancing act as she contemplated the words about the law of reverse effect. The human ability to generate thoughts contrasts with the difficulty in controlling them, a phenomenon highlighted by scientific research cited by Clarke. The writer absorbed the idea that trying to force creative solutions often leads to the opposite of what is desired. The more one tries, the more it escapes. The creative process, she reflected, is more about surrender than control. Camuscu's words resonated deeply. Instead of forcing, pulling, or outlining ideas, it's necessary to allow them to grow organically. Mystery and surprise are pillars of creativity, revealing themselves when least expected, in moments of relaxation or ease. The story of the archer, tense during the tournament despite being capable of shooting perfectly during practice, echoed in the writer's mind. Excessive concern about the outcome, be it in art, creativity, or daily tasks, can be an obstacle. The tension generated by concern for the future or rumination about past mistakes prevents us from being fully present. These reflections led her to consider the intrinsic paradox of mental control. The belief that the more we care and try to control, the more likely we are to succeed is flawed. On the contrary, the more we care, the more we try to control, and the more likely our performance will suffer. Understanding this subtle dynamic between control, creativity, and performance sparked a new level of questioning and reflection in the writer. The writer absorbed the nuances of the law of reverse effect concerning the pursuit of success. The more we focus on this goal, the more it seems to elude us, a phenomenon reinforced by the idea of excessive pressure hindering progress. This reflection echoed the Taoist teachings about effortless action, Wu, a concept advocated as the key to avoiding obstructing our own path. Christopher Berglund's words added a new perspective. The mindset of non-effort, paradoxically, opens doors to the ideal zone of performance, a state of flow where excellence is achieved without excessive struggle. The understanding that striving less can actually result in more success challenged the writer's conventional logic. She contemplated how the obsession with the desired outcome often leads us to overly pressure ourselves, rather than trusting the natural fluidity of the process. The idea of Wu as a way to flow effortlessly towards excellence lingered in her mind, challenging ingrained notions that success is only achieved through arduous and relentless pursuit. This new insight into the relationship between effort, pressure, and success brought forth a deep questioning in the writer. By trying too hard, are we distancing ourselves from the natural state of excellence we could achieve? Understanding this subtle dynamic between conscious effort and the fluidity of action became a focal point in her journey of reflection on the law of reverse effect. The writer absorbed the ideas about effortless action, delving into the depth of that mindset that transcends concern for results. She reflected on how this state of being or doing unfolds in the absence of discursive thoughts about the past or worries about the future. The focus is entirely on the task itself, to the point where it ceases to feel like a task and becomes a fusion between the agent and the action. The understanding that when we don't worry about future accomplishments or ruminate about past failures, our performance flows uninterrupted, profoundly impacted the writer. She considered how this absence of concerns contributes to the enhancement of performance, allowing for pure and responsive action in the present. The understanding that the mental and physical obstacles we create for ourselves as a result of caring about the outcome disappear when we stop caring challenged the conventional notion of control. The analogy of a driver driving a car highlighted the uniqueness of each present moment, showing how responsive and spontaneous actions are triggered when we are not burdened by premeditated thoughts or concerns. These reflections led her to consider the importance of being fully present in the moment, allowing the experience to unfold without the interference of mental burdens from the past or anxiety about the future. Understanding this dynamic between action, presence, and absence of concerns became a turning point in the writer's reflection journey on the law of reverse effect. The writer's understanding of the influence of thoughts on action and response processes gained depth with reflections on how our minds tend to create detailed predictions of the future, often getting lost in mental rehearsals and fantasies. She pondered how this incessant mental preparation, although seemingly useful, could actually hinder us from responding to what is truly happening. The words of philosopher Dr. Wei Enchong, emphasizing the importance of openness in the context of Wu, resonated in the writer's mind. She absorbed the idea of acting receptively and responsively, harmonizing with the natural flow of the cosmos. These concepts reinforced the understanding of how excessive concern can obstruct our path, creating a barrier between our desires and our actions. The realization that results do not manifest only through intense fixation on them, but rather through actions, made the writer reflect deeply. She questioned the human tendency to cling to desired outcomes and how this attachment can paradoxically distance us from the actions that would lead to those results. These reflections led her to consider how excessive concern about results can be compared to the archer who trembles, the soccer player who misses a penalty, or the writer unable to write. The connection between this concern and the inability to act effectively to achieve set goals resonated as an echo of the lessons of the law of reverse effect. Understanding this subtle dynamic between concern, action, and results became a crucial point in the writer's journey of reflection on this intriguing paradox.